Packers had a lot of success this last season. Played fairly all right the year before, but the year before that, they were god-awful. They had roughly like the same guys. They were just all younger. But they did have Brett Favre, who was also a few years younger and in a little better shape. Even though they had that same Brett Favre.
Right.
They were a terrible
Just couldn't put it together. Man.
When the rest of the team finally came together is when the Packers had success. Even though, much like the Kobe Bryant situation, even though all the accolades went to Brett Favre, when actually he didn't do anything. He might have actually diminished in skill level from the year that they were, 4-12, whatever they were, 3-13.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was really, really good, and they just
the team was bad. The team was bad, but the rest of the team was bad. But as a player, he may have been better then. Last season, he's obviously old. I mean, he's obviously old, but Packers have one of their most successful seasons and like forever. But he gets all the credit, even though it is clearly just a result of the rest of the team becoming better.
Right.
I mean, the Green Bay wide receivers had the highest yards after catch average out of any receiving core in the NFL. What that means is after they caught the ball, they did more with it than any other receiving core in the NFL. They caught the ball and then made plays.
Right. But it just goes that every team's got to have their star.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, say Tom Brady. Would you put all the things on him necessarily, given what you're talking about?
Well, it's like we said before, though. If you look at the Patriots before Tom Brady, and then look at the immediate change of the team as soon as he took over at quarterback, you can make a direct link to the Patriots' success and Tom Brady. Yeah. You know what I mean? If Tom Brady, for the next couple seasons, if all of a sudden the Patriots were to go like 4-12 and 3-13, even though Tom Brady was still being Tom Brady, you know what I mean? Then we could say something. But since Brady's been in New England, the Patriots have been virtually unbeatable. Yeah, I mean, and it's been since he was there, and they're consistent, and it's every season. They're right up there at the top, and they're playing and competing. But, I mean, it's different with Green Bay because we had Brett Favre in Green Bay being Brett Favre, and they were really, really bad. Yeah. The rest of the team stepped up.
It's true.
And the Packers were good then. But everybody seems to be thinking that since the one guy's gone, there's no chance for this team now.
Well, he's got a good backup, though.
Aaron Rodgers is very capable. Very, very capable. And
he can say he studied under one of the best.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. You can definitely boast that on your resume. You and Brett Favre hanging out.
Yeah.
And
I hung out with Brett.
Yeah, I used to hang out with Brett. Yeah, one time me and Brett were like, heck, he was telling me something about his life. I mean,
this crazy party.
Yeah, it's just totally kicking. It was like me and Brett.
Everywhere.
Right. But Aaron Rodgers, even if he doesn't come out and have a great season, they have one of the best defenses in the league, who is only getting better. They're not getting older because they were incredibly young. So this season they'll be even better than last year.
Youngest team in the NFL, weren't they?
They were the youngest team in the NFL, yeah, and I think they still are. Ryan Grant, a terrific young running back. Since he came into the league, I think he was like the number 2 rusher in the NFL.
Yeah. Since
he stepped into the league, so I mean they just have all sorts of great things going for it. Greg Jennings, wide receiver, who looks like he's going to be a Pro Bowler probably this season. Maybe should have been last year.
That's not too far of a stretch, I would say.
Absolutely not. No, he's almost a keeper in fantasy football. You have him on your team, you really have to consider holding on to him. He is quite productive.
Right.
But you want to wait and see how he plays with Aaron Rodgers. But like I said, these guys have a tendency in Green Bay to catch the ball and then make the play. So it's not like Rodgers is going to have to find them downfield. He can find them on a 10-yard little pattern and hit them for a little pass, and they'll turn it into a huge game. That was their bread and butter last year. So Aaron Rodgers isn't going to have to come in and save the world. All the pieces are in place to make this thing work. So I really, really like Green Bay to be basically the same team they were last year.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks it's going to be night and day without Brett Favre. Listen,
all he's got to do is hit his mark, like you said. That's it.
Just got to get it put it in those guys' hands. They have the talent to do stuff with it. So that's my prediction on the North, and I think you'll find that I'm right. And totally hardcore, a lot. Here's the story. What time is it? We got about a half hour.
I could go with you on that. I mean, even though there's AP, well, the Vikings have put a lot of money and a lot of effort into their team.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They're going for broke this year.
Yeah, no, the Vikings, but they're going for. They got Tavares Jackson. They're just going to roll with Tavares.
You just hate him.
Well, it's just I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why he's earned he's our guy we're going with. I don't see I don't see that he's done anything to deserve that. But Minnesota, they're going to compete. That's why I think they'll get second, because the Bears and the Lions I don't think have anything going for them next season. Minnesota has the best offensive line in football. They have 2 starting running backs. They have one of the best defense against the run in all of football, and their defense against the pass isn't that bad. Jackson does have another year in. Geez, sorry, I ate pizza for lunch. But I don't think they have any receivers to throw to, and that's that hurts. You can only be one-dimensional so long with the ball. You know what I mean? You can only run the ball 75% of the time for so long.
Right.
Eventually, you have to change something up. Ask the Steelers. Eventually, you just have to change something up. And Minnesota's going to come out and pound the ball this year and pound it and change the pace and bring in Chester Taylor and wear out the defense, and all of a sudden they have to chase around Adrian Peterson. And and it's a really, really hard thing to do. But
they got a good 1-2 punch.
But what did they do for him last year?
Well,
you know what I mean?
I don't know what happened to him last year.
They weren't a bad team, but they didn't go anywhere.
Matter of fact, that's a good question for me to ask you right now.
Okay.
What happened
to Minnesota last year?
They took off. They're doing great.
Well,
what would you say made them go on the downfall?
Well, they don't have any receivers. They're one-dimensional. Like I said, you can only be one-dimensional so much. It only works against so many teams. There's going to be teams. There were a lot of games where Adrian Peterson had little to no production. He just had some monster games that gave him the stats that he had. But there was a lot of games where he didn't do anything. And Chester Taylor said he even went down and was injured for a little bit.